Hey guys, today we are talking all about fair skin makeup. We're also going to talk a little bit about cool toned makeup. So if you're not necessarily a pale princess, but you do like a cool tone makeup moment, I will have things in this video for you as well. Don't you fret. It is really hard to find makeup products that flatter fair skin people. I think everyone at the extremes knows that. The super fair girlies and the very deep complected girlies know. Everything gets made for the folks in the middle. Us at the end, we can just figure it out ourselves, I guess. Screw us, right? So I definitely want to hear what you guys have to think, what your tips, tricks, suggestions, favorite products are. As always, make sure you thumbs up the video if you enjoy it. Subscribe if you are new here. Check the down bar for links to all my social media platforms. And let's just get into it. Let's start with complexion. This is truly been one of the hardest parts of this process for me. In fact, when I did my 2025 trend video, one of the things that I kind of put out into the ether and said I would like to see is either brands start introducing color adjusters for their foundation formulas or some kind of company to come into existence that sells nothing but complexion and color adjusters. I don't mean color correctors. I don't mean the things you put on your face to cancel out your blemishes or imperfections. I mean something I can put in a foundation to make it my correct shade, because when it comes to fair skin, it is incredibly hard, especially if you're fair skinned and you're cool toned. Blue pigment apparently is super expensive for brands to use in their complexion lines, and that's why, part of why I guess, it can be very difficult to find really well done, cool undertone foundations, complexion products in general. So the first thing I want to tell you guys, if you were really struggling with this, there is a brand called Face Atelier. I used to use their makeup in my pro line, and I owned these products back then, but have not needed them since, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to circle back and grab them. They sell foundation adjusters. They have white. I think they have like a really dark brown, a red one, a blue one, a yellow one. Essentially what you can do is buy these, mix them into whatever foundation you have, and that can get your foundation or whatever complexion product closer to your skin tone. The only downside is, and this is why I want a company to come out with it, Face Atelier, I believe they are silicone-based makeup. So if you have a water-based foundation, I don't know how they're going to play well together. I would love to see a company come out with their color adjusters that are silicone-based, water-based, just anything that can play well with your existing formulations, because once you start mixing too many color adjusting products and things like that into your foundation, it will change the finish and formula of that foundation. And if you really love the way that foundation looks on your skin, that's the last thing you want to do. This is not a foolproof way of getting on top of this situation, but it's something to consider. And I will say, in terms of the finish of Face Atelier, the foundation that most reminds me of Face Atelier is Armani Luminous Silk. The Face Atelier regular foundations are gorgeous, so while you're on the website, if you want to grab one of their regular foundations, I encourage it because they're beautiful. So if you like Armani Luminous Silk, which we'll talk about in a minute, you'll probably like Face Atelier, and that's the kind of consistency and finish and formulation of their color adjusters as well. That being said, let's talk about the complexion products I found that do work for me being as fair as I am. First thing I want to point you to is the VDL Lumi Layer Primer. This is a K-Beauty brand. In fact, cheat code, massive cheat code for you guys. If you're fair, thinking about going fair, look at K-Beauty, C-Beauty, and J-Beauty trends. They do tend to make a lot of products that flatter fair skin. Their pigments, and we have a few K-Beauty products in here, we'll talk about it in a minute, but that's why I want to get into K-Beauty so much more this year as far as makeup is concerned. Their colors are much softer, they're a lot lighter, they're a lot fresher on pale skin. But that's just a tip. If you want to learn how to do your makeup better when you have fair skin, because again, when you stop tanning, it's so hard to understand how to like not look kind of dead and lifeless. Look to KJ and C-Beauty. Anyway, all that being said, VDL is a K-Beauty brand. Apparently, this is what they call the primer in Korea, and everyone knows what that means. It's this one. This is white, clearly white as a pearl. And speaking of pearl, that is exactly the kind of finish that it gives you on your skin. It looks like you are just an ethereal goddess. The only thing I don't like about this primer is I wish that it was a little bit more hydrating. I'm dry, so the more hydration, the better. I can't just use this primer by itself. I still have to put essences and serums and moisturizers, then put this on top. But the way that it kind of shines through your makeup, the way it makes you look so healthy and glowy and angelic, I've never had any primer do that, but certainly not one on the fair skin side of things. You can also mix this in with your products, your tinted moisturizers, tinted sunscreens, foundations, and it will take that effect even further. This is amazing for fair skinned people. I mean, you can wear this on a no makeup day on top of your sunscreen with a little bit of concealer. You're just gonna look like a fairy princess. I highly recommend this one. Whether you wear a lot of complexion makeup or not, you would like this. Like I said, even on no makeup days, it just makes you look healthy and glowy and gorgeous. Foundation, you guys, this is gonna be hard because not all fair skinned people are cool toned, right? I'm like cool toned neutral. I'm not full blown pink. You know how some redheads, natural redheads, can be very, very pink. I'm not there, and I'm not neutral. I used to buy a lot of neutral stuff, but it looks way too beige on me. I am right there. I want to talk more about lines that I think are doing a pretty good job of including, like I said, that blue pigment, because it's hard to come by in makeup. Let's start with drugstore. This is the Maybelline Super Stay 24-Hour Skin Tint. This is the best color of my drugstore foundations. It's not my favorite formulation. It's a little dry for me. This is something I can really only pull for in the summer. For instance, the Revlon Skin Tint is my favorite. It is the most beautiful. You could bottle that thing in like an Armani bottle or a Tom Ford bottle, and I would believe it. I would believe that that formulation is worth 3-4 times more than Revlon charges for it. It's gorgeous. The only problem is it's very beige. So I end up mixing foundations a lot. I really have to. This, in terms of drugstore, is the closest I can get to a fair, cool toned foundation, which is the hardest to find, which leads me to believe cautiously that if you are on the fair side of things and you're having a hard time finding a drugstore foundation that works for you, that maybe Maybelline is what you should be looking at, because if I can find a good match, I feel like a lot more people would be able to as well. For an affordable budget option, the Maybelline Super Stay 24-Hour Skin Tint is incredible. A lot of people love this thing. Again, I think it's going to be better for summer for someone like me. Oily combo skin girlies year round would love this, but we're talking more about colors in the lines more than we're talking about the formulation of the product. I'm just guessing, but I think it's safe to say Fenty would also be a good option. I've never used a Fenty foundation or any of her, I don't think I've used any of her complexion products outside of like bronzers and powders and things of that nature. No concealers, no foundations. I would be open to it. Let me know if you guys have any recommendations by way of that. But her line is so huge in terms of shade range and undertone. That might be a good place to check. Another really good option or brand that could potentially have you covered when you're fair skin is Makeup Forever. They've been doing huge shade lines way before Fenty. MAC as well. MAC has a pretty extensive shade range, but it's their undertones. They're very yellow. Even the ones that are not supposed to be yellow pull too yellow to me, and the ones that are cool toned are way too pink. This for Makeup Forever, this is the Makeup Forever HD Skin Hydra Glow in the color 1RO2. This is a really good match for me. Like, you can just see it next to my chest and my neck and see that this is really good. This is rare, however. I can't say it enough. I have to mix things 9 times out of 10. Very seldom do I have one foundation that's actually my color. Makeup Forever has been good for me. I'm cautiously optimistic that it could be good for you as well. The HD Hydra Skin Glow is beautiful if you are dry skinned. It's incredible. Next is the Armani Luminous Silk. Mine is in the color 3.75. This is pretty close to, it's a little bit darker than I wish it was, but blending it out, I can make it work. And that's the next thing I'll tell you guys when it comes to fair skin. Some people argue that you should go one shade darker on your face. Some people say go a shade lighter. I try to get as close as humanly possible, and I really don't mind it, to be honest with you, if I'm looking a little bright. If my concealer's going a little too hard in the paint, or if my foundation's a little too light, because I kind of can warm it up and bring contrast and some depth to it with bronzers and contours. That being said, you're really going to have to play with it and see what makes you happy. Like I said, some people say go a little bit darker. I think it's much more noticeable when you do that. Some people, if they go too light, they feel like it makes them look real pasty, kind of ashy. You're going to have to play with this. But again, we're just talking about lines that I've tested that I think you will have pretty good luck finding a single shade your color without having to buy tons of them. Again, Armani is a good example of that. And like I told you before, the Face Atelier one, very similar if you're curious. My absolute favorite, and I talked about this in my Best of Beauty, is the Patrick Ta Major. I don't know, he got like a whole paragraph right here. I don't even know what this thing's called anymore. Mine is in the color 3 Rosy Neutral, and that alone is what I need. I need rosy neutral. His is the only foundation line I know of that has a rosy neutral side to it. So please let me know if anybody else does, because I will grab it toot sweet. This is absolutely my perfect match. It's the most invisible foundation I own. I can wear it by itself. I do actually mix this with everything. Anytime I have a foundation that's not quite right, this will get it acting correctly. Something about the undertone of this, even if I only use a tiny bit of it inside of a more yellow or beige foundation, it brings it to life and makes it do what I need it to do. Love this foundation. The formula is great. I would say this is better for normal to dry. It's very dewy. It's not the most long lasting. If you're combo oily, you're gonna have to prime accordingly and definitely set very well. But mature skin, dry skin, combo dry, I think you would love this. And again, it's the shade range more than anything I'm trying to point you guys to. So as far as complexion is concerned, one of the downsides to being pale is that if you have imperfections on your skin by way of discoloration, they are so much more apparent. When you have fake tan on, it kind of evens everything out, so you can't really see what's going on. It's like a little filter, which is why most people like to tan anyway. It evens your skin tone, makes it look nice and glowy. But for me, that is particularly helpful because I'm the type of person that scars incredibly easily when I have a breakout. If I get a breakout, the breakout's bad enough, but it's going to leave a scar. I'm going to have a little red spot. In fact, you might be able to see right here, I had a breakout going on for a minute there. It completely ruins my complexion until I can fade it. So that's a little bit annoying. That can make doing your complexion with fair skin harder because it's almost like you feel the need for your skin to be as clear and even toned as possible, or you're going to feel the need to conceal it within an inch of its life. It's kind of rough. It's a fine line you have to walk. Now, when it comes to concealing, I will have to recommend to you guys the Hourglass Vanish Concealer. I spoke about this in my favorites video, and I said I hated this. I should have clarified. What I do like this a lot for is for spot concealing. This truly will erase anything. What I like to do with this when I'm doing my makeup, I will prime my skin, get it ready to go, and I will dot this anywhere I have a red spot, and I'll go find something else to do. I might go make myself some tea or most likely a bone broth. I will set out my outfit for the day. I'll just find something to do and let it really sit. I'm talking 5, 7, 8 minutes. Like, let this bad boy sit there so that it doesn't move or be smeary once you put your foundation on top of it. Because going back to what I said about foundation, you might have a hard time with fair skin having an even complexion that doesn't look heavy and ghostly. So you don't want to go too crazy with coverage except where you need it to kind of combat that a little bit. And that's what I love this for. I have recently used this as my under eye concealer and actually liked the effect of it. I did not like it at first. In fact, I said I didn't like this in my 2025 video. I'm here to come correct. This is growing on me. And I think this is particularly helpful, like I said, for the fair skin girlies who need to cover up any imperfections. That way they're not piling foundation on, getting that kind of, like I said, ghostly kind of spirit Halloween look. You might want to be a little more intentional with your concealer placement, and the biggest trick I can give you, put it on under your foundation. So before you go in and do anything else, put this on first, let it get really set. Go find something to do, then do the rest of your makeup. It'll change your life. So moving on to bronzer and contour, I think this is one of the hardest places to find your perfect match. I have lots of fair skin bronzers that I like. I only have a few that I love, and typically with the ones that I like, the only way I can make it work is to mix them with other things. It goes back to what I said about foundation. It's a constant mixing process, but I really tried to bring you guys things that work really well on their own without a whole lot of finessing and talking nice to them. The first one I want to share with you guys is the first bronzer I ever found for fair skin people that I really liked, and it's from the Balm. Do you guys remember the Balm? This is the Balm Desert. It's actually touted as a bronzer and a blush. I've been using this for so long. I do think they changed this formula though. It's very pigmented. I wish it was a little less intense, but in terms of the undertone, it's got this gorgeous rosy side to it that helps the bronzer look a lot more real and a part of your skin when you're fair versus, like I said, that kind of orange, yellow, super abundantly bronzer look that looks great on deep skin and tan skin. Like a bronzy cheek on a certain skin tone is so gorgeous and just tropical island vibes off of it. But when you're fair, it can look really clownish. This one I think would work for most fair people. It's really going to come down to how light-handed you are with it, because this is very pigmented. You're going to have to talk nice to it. Now, that being said, a very similar bronzer, in fact, I would call these almost spot-on dupes for each other. On camera, this one's reading a little bit darker, I think, but in person, they look almost identical. This is the Gucci bronzer in the color 1. They both suffer from the same issue, and that they're very pigmented. You might have to mix this with something else or be, like I said, very light-handed with it. But what I like about these in particular is that the color works so well on fair skin because it doesn't pull too warm. It's not orange, it's not beige, it's not yellow. Like for instance, my Armani powder bronzer, which is beautiful. I love Armani Beauty, but it's a little yellow. It's almost unusable to me because it's so yellow. I'm not gonna give up the ghost though. I'm gonna make it work. These are truly more rosy pink toned, and I think most fair skin people would like it. Or cool toned. Like I said, this isn't just fair skin, it's cool toned people too. This is the NYX Buttermelt bronzer in the color All Butted Up. This color would work really well for fair skin, more cool tone people, because it's kind of got a similar undertone, borderline identical to both of these, if I'm honest with you. I just don't love this formula. I know a lot of people did, so don't just take my word for it. Listen to others on this subject, because this was very popular last summer. People were losing their mind. It's just not my favorite formula. It seems like it should be because it has a little bit of a sheen to it, which I tend to like in my bronzers. That way they're not too flat. They blend out nicer. But this almost, like, for me, is too shiny. I mean, it's not glittery. There's just something about it for me that emphasizes texture unnecessarily. So for that reason, it's not my favorite. But again, tons of people disagree with me. Tons of people love this. So if you're looking for a good drugstore product, you might like this one. This is the Say Dupe Bronze in the color Salt. I actually meant to put this in my Best of Beauty for 2025 and I totally forgot. This is really, really good for no makeup days. This is good for people who, you know, you've heard me say 15 times already that these are really pigmented and you got to be light-handed with it. You can go bananas with this and it will never be too much. I don't know what everybody else thought about this, but I really, really like it. It almost has like a jelly cream kind of texture to it. It blends out so well. You know what? I would say it was almost like an oil, almost like a balmy oil situation with it. But as you can see, it's pretty neutral. Like, it's not pulling orange, it's not pulling yellow. It's just a nice wash of a bronzy kind of life-giving shade. You cannot screw this formula up. It doesn't matter how much of it you apply, it blends out like a friggin' dream. As I said before, fair skin bronzers get fussy. This can get out of control. It can be really hard to keep looking natural. That is not the case with this. You can go bananas with it and it will still give you that fresh, that contrast you're looking for, the life to the skin without looking too opaque or too artificial. I think mature skin girlies would love this more than anything. Dry skin also. I love this product. I'm really bummed I forgot to mention it in my Best of Beauty, but for fair skin bronzers, like typically no makeup days, running errands, I'm pulling for this. It's truly beautiful. This is Too Cool Art Class by Rodin. I don't know. I'll leave information about this down below. I got this on Amazon. I picked this up because, as I told you guys before, if you're trying to up your fair skin beauty game and you don't know what to do, check out K&J Beauty Makeup Artists, because that's the color stories they're typically working with. And I kept seeing tons and tons of Korean makeup artists use this, so I grabbed it. This is really good. Look at it on camera right now. It is very soft, very cool toned. This is a great powder contour if you are fair. It's right there. I don't even know if you can see it. That's what you're looking for with contour on fair skin, because it can get clownish real quick. And I have to make a video for you guys very soon showing you my updated makeup routine, because I have so many tips and tricks around that. But I really only contour right here now. I don't carve out my cheeks. I like pop the cheeks forward and then I put contour right here on the side of my face. This is what I use today. I feel like it gave me that definition, that contour, that dimension, but it's also like borderline invisible. Incredible. They have two different colors of this. I think I got the cool tone version, but I think they also have a neutral one. I'll have to leave it down below. So foolproof, so user-friendly, very, very beautiful formula. Like, I was pleasantly surprised by this. Lastly, this is from Okay, this is from Etude House. This is the Reborn marker. I don't remember if there's more colors than this. I will leave it down below. This is just a contour stick. It's giving very KKW Beauty circa 2017, if you ask me. But look at how light this is. Look at how sheer, look at the undertone. Like, it is, again, very foolproof. I find that with fair skin, you have to be so careful with it. It gets rowdy fast. These two, if you buy nothing else, I recommend by way of contour products, maybe even you don't like bronzer as a fair skin girly, but you want that emphasis and structure brought back to the skin, you could just get these two and you'd be very happy. I will link everything I'm talking about down below. You guys, I have an Amazon storefront. You know, I'm on the internet, so of course I got one. But I will have all this stuff set aside for you. So if you want to check it out, I've got it all together for you to make your life easier. Again, these might be the only two I think you truly need, if you pardon the expression, because nobody needs any of this in the hunter-gatherer sense of the word. But I guess what I'm saying is, like, the bronzers on fair skin is very personal preference, but most people want to bring life back to the skin. Most people want to have some shadow on their face. This might be all you need. This is the only powder I can recommend to you guys today. That's because my favorite one is discontinued. It's the Givenchy Prisme Libre Poudre. I love it because it has this gorgeous pastel blue tone to it, which, unlike most powders that I use when I'm as fair as I am, it doesn't darken my concealer. There's nothing worse than when you put your concealer on, you want a little bit of brightness underneath the eyes. Nothing crazy. Hello, it's not 2014. Just a little something. And then you put a powder on and it darkens it and completely undoes what you've done. The Givenchy one is the best I've ever seen for keeping fair skin concealer light, bright. I'm not saying it won't work for you just because they reformulated it. I just haven't tried the new formulation, so I don't know if it's trash or not. Some people have tried to tell me that it probably won't look any different on my skin versus the old formulation, but I haven't tried it, so I can't tell you for sure. This, however, does still exist, and as of today, when I'm filming this, it's actually on sale on the Fenty Beauty website. This is the Fenty Beauty Lavender Powder. It's going to do much the same that I said the blue powder does. It's probably not going to have the same beautiful finish that the Givenchy powder has, but if you are looking for a powder, a loose powder to go under the eye that's not going to look too gunky, too heavy, keep the under eye bright, then you would probably really, really like this. This is a beautiful powder. I've actually worn this a lot when I'm tan, but fair in particular, it's the move. I know Huda has all her different under eye powders. Like, she recently came out with a ube dessert powder that's like very, like, almost like neon purple. I'm not a fan of that. Like, it almost looks like your blush is going from here up to your lash line kind of thing. It's not like that. It's not as pigmented as that. It's just going to brighten and keep things nice and fresh under the eye. For highlighter, when you have fair skin, it can be really hard to find one that actually shows up or doesn't, because sometimes if you go too dark, if you get one that's not right for you, it'll just look like a muddy kind of streak on the cheek. So for highlighter, you know, I'm not a big highlighter person. I don't have any drugstore ones to offer you guys. I do still use them every time I do my makeup, but it's not something I'm constantly seeking out either. These, I think, will work on literally every fair skin person. This is Cookie from Benefit. If you can't tell, this is a big favorite. This is almost white. It's almost full blown, completely white. While this tends to be a favorite for all types of skin tones, I know when I was tan, I still use this as well. I think if you're really, really pale, you would even still like this. It's the first highlighter I've ever bought that I've hit ban on like this. I've never done this to a highlighter before, but that's just a testament to how beautiful it is. It's right there. Very, very bright, very shimmery. It's really going to bring that kind of glowy effect you're looking for to your pale skin, but it's not going to do like I told you, where if you go too dark, too bronze, too champagne, you'll just have this really weird streak on your face. It blends really nicely into fair skin. The next one I have is the Hollywood Glow. Why? Look at all the words on the back of this packaging. Like, I feel like I'm reading a Stephen King novel. It's called the Hollywood Glow Guide Face Architect Highlighter in Moonlit Glow from Charlotte Tilbury. I also really love this one. It's even almost brighter than this one. Like this, if you even compare them next to each other in the pan, hold that thought, I'll show you. This one almost has like a peachy kind of undertone to it. This one is white with a hint of yellow, but not so much that it bothers me. And like you've heard me say a million times how avoidant of yellow pigment on my face I am. This is stunning. It's gorgeous. I do pull for it all the time. In fact, I think I'm wearing it today. day. It's so bright, so glowy. It's very, very pretty. If you are one of those chicks who still loves the chrome look on the cheeks, you're gonna like this one. I did not feel like getting too crazy with blush with you guys today, to be honest with you. One of the benefits of being fair, if I'm honest with you, is blush shows up on you in a different way than it does other skin tones. Like, you can make any blush really pop. So there's no sense in me being like, this one looks good on fair skin, that one looks good on fair skin. It's really going to be personal preference. At the end of the day, I'm talking a lot about cool toned colors because that's what looks best on me. Blush is just one of those things where it really depends on what colors you enjoy. Although some people just will wear any color blush. I am not one of those people at all. Coral, peach does not look good on me. I like pink, mauve, plum, berry. This, however, I will offer you, I think this combination would look good on anyone. I'm wearing it today. I've been wearing it in my past few videos, and several of you guys have commented on how much you like my makeup these days. So I'm gonna tell you about it. I've talked to you guys about this 1,000 times. But the Armani cheek tints, this one is in the color like mauve something. I'll leave it down below. I wear this one all the time. I wear it underneath my makeup. I put it on top of my makeup. Like, it just depends on what I'm doing that day. But I've actually been doing like a combo of these two the most lately. And I feel like what it does is it gives me this kind of sweet, freshly pinched cheek look. I can be kind of finicky around red blush, for instance. I don't know if I'm ever going to be into red blush because I have a lot of redness in my skin. Like, my skin holds a lot of heat. It gets irritated very easily. So if you go too red on me, it just makes me feel like I look like I'm having a bad skin day. So pink, cool tones, that's what I'm more into. Mixing the Armani cheek tint in the mauve color, I'll annotate it somewhere, with this Gucci blush. This is the color Silky Rose, which apparently is a K-beauty favorite. Like I was telling you, I've been watching tons of Korean makeup artists. This one has been going viral in Korea. I already owned it, which was super convenient. I just started reaching for it more to see how I felt about it. Like I said, just a really sweet pink is what I think you get here. The combination of these two together have been my favorite blush buddies. And I think if you like this type of cool tone, kind of, you know, pinky, fresh look, this is one of those blush buddy duos that I think most people will like. I mean, it's not a cheap one. I think both of these together, you're looking at about $100, a little under $100 with tax. I wear these so often, I'm probably going to empty them. They're my favorite blush right now on my fair skin. You never know. I try out different blush combos all the time. This is just the only one I brought over here that I thought I'd recommend. I know this is on the expensive side. I just don't have any drugstore blushes that I love. It's not for a lack of trying. I've been trying to get my hands on some drugstore blushes that I will enjoy. It just hasn't happened yet. So if you have any recommendations for that, let me know. So when we get to brows, it's more a tip than a product I want to share with you guys. Go a little softer, go a little lighter, and maybe warmer, depending on what your hair color is. Like, my hair is a cool dark brown. I used to use a cooler dark brown shade on my brows. It was really harsh. So I would argue go with taupe. In fact, most K-beauty makeup artists that I have seen universally use Anastasia Beverly Hills brow powder in taupe. I can't get my hands on it, not for a lack of trying. I've been trying to order it, trying to hunt it down when I go in person. It's never in stock. Soft brown from Anastasia Beverly Hills has been working for me. It is just much warmer than my hair, and it doesn't seem like that should work. It really doesn't. We've been told all our makeup lives to match them. I would offer to you, if you're particularly fair, this might be one of those times to go a little lighter, a little softer. It's going to give you that structure and definition, but not look so harsh. And I almost feel like when my brows are too dark, when I'm fair, it makes me look angry or something. So that's just a tip I'll offer you. For eyes, I've talked about this 1,000 times, so I'm literally going to mention it for a second and then move on. Armani eye tint in the color Cashew. I wish they would come out with something a little bit rosier, like this, with a bump of pink in it would be all I need. This is just kind of caramelly, warm brown, but not so warm that's gonna pull orange on you if you're fair toned. I have another one from Armani called Cedar that is truly designed to lean more cool, but it's so cool it's cold. It's not what I'm looking for. I want something like this, but a little bit more pink. If that ever comes out, I'll snatch that sumbitch right out. But this has been one of my favorite makeup products ever since I picked it up last year. Can't say enough good things about it, but we're gonna move on because I talk about it all the time. Two other really good options for the same exact type of product are these guys. And side note, what I mean by that, when I do my eyeshadow, I think this is more true the older that you get. when you're getting older and you're trying to do your transition color, that kind of tugging of the eye with powder, trying to build it and build it. It's a sensory thing. I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't want tugging and pulling all over my eye anymore. I feel like building up your transition color takes a month of Sundays. That's what these are good for. Technically, you could do the same thing with like a cream bronzer. Obviously, there's no limits to what you can do with makeup. This, in general, just stays really, really well. It does not budge. This is not going anywhere. It blends out like a dream. Just makes doing your eyeshadow a million times faster and easier. Same thing with these. This is the Bobbi Brown Shadow Stick in the color Taupe. I mean, the name says it all. You're just gonna get a gorgeous, it's a little bit warmer than I wish it was. Like, as you can tell, it's kind of caramelly. But if you like a taupe shadow, if you have a yellow undertone in your fair, you'd probably like this. This one's my favorite. This is the NARS Don't Touch eyeshadow stick. I did not use this for a long time after I got it. I kind of forgot I had it, but I've been using it nonstop for the past few days. This is more what I'm talking about, that I don't know if you can tell a difference, but as you can see, this is much more pink. This is much more yellow. I want this color in this formula, and I will never ask for anything ever again in the makeup world. It's exactly what I'm looking for. These, again, are just a really easy way to start any eyeshadow look. Everyone needs a transition color. Everyone needs a little something in the crease or under the lash line to kind of give a little emphasis. That's what these are great for. They blend out super easily. It makes doing your makeup take minutes, like mere minutes. It's just the best. These type of eyeshadow sticks for transition colors are great. These are just the colors that I use the most. Again, Taupe from Bobbi Brown and Don't Touch from NARS. The NARS one being my favorite, but Armani being the king or queen of all she surveys. Next, we have eyeshadow palettes. I only have two. One of them you've heard me mention 1,000 times. This one I've not spoken about on camera, but I have used it off camera. This is just not a type of product I love these days. I am much more team quads. I want like very little, like a one and done situation, but not everyone feels that way, so I thought I'd mention it. It's the Stone Cold Fox eyeshadow palette from ColourPop. Oh, come back to me. This thing has so many beautiful, cool toned eyeshadows in it. It's ColourPop, so it's budget friendly. It's a behemoth, which is not exactly what I'm into, but I definitely wanted to mention it as a more affordable alternative to my actual favorite eyeshadow palette. There's tons of finishes in here. You could do everyday looks, going out looks, smoky eyes. In fact, I will do a tutorial. I'll do something with this in the near future. Just let me know what you want to see. This is a great drugstore. I consider ColourPop drugstore. Great drugstore option. But in my opinion, the best, not even just the best, cool toned eyeshadow palette, just these palettes from Makeup by Mario, his Master Mattes, are just infallible. I use this every single time I do my makeup. It doesn't matter what I'm doing. Even if it's a no makeup day, I will run a little bit of something in here through the crease. You can't go wrong with this. It's pricey. Like, you might look at these two and feel like this is a ripoff compared to this. Don't let the bells and whistles of these types of big palettes fool you. You need to buy makeup you will use, and you will use all the time. You will use this all the time. I promise you. It is literally, like, I talked about this in my Best of Beauty. This would be in a top 5 for me. It's an incredible product. I hope Mario comes out with more. Like, I'd love for him to come out with a pink toned one. This one's considered his neutral. I don't think this is neutral. I think this is full blown cool toned. But I would love to see a rosy version, like a nice pink kind of version of this. Love it. Lastly, for eye makeup, this is from Flower Nose. I apologize, but I can't read anything on it. I don't know what the color is. It's not written here. I will annotate it elsewhere. This is beautiful. I think anyone would like this, but particularly fair people. First of all, the pen is so tiny. Look at how fine pointed that is. You cannot mess up with this. But the color, more than anything, is what I want to draw you to. It's an interesting brown. It's got a little bit of warmth to it. That's why I think everyone would like it. I'm wearing it today as my eyeliner. But it's this interesting warm to neutral brown that really makes the eyes pop, and it's not super harsh. When you're fair, black on the eyes, like black eyeshadow, black eyeliner, it can be really stark and really harsh. That is not the case with this. This is beautiful. I've never seen a liquid eyeliner this color. I have several brown liquid eyeliners, but they're not this color. It's the color in particular. I mean, the formulation's amazing. Like, this thing is impervious to movement. It's not going anywhere. It's long wearing. The pen itself is really, really nice. Like I said, it's so tiny. You'd have to try to mess up with this. More than anything, the color brings a lot of life and interest to the eye. I think most people who tried this would like it as long as you're okay with, you know, not a black eyeliner. I've never seen a brown liner this soft. Like even my brown eyeliners are too can pull harsh, can be too dark. This is just really unique to me. Lips, and then we'll go. I don't want to go too crazy on lips because lips really are going to be about personal preference. The only thing in the lip world I will offer you as a cool tone person, you know what, I'll give you two. Two things in the, no, we'll do three. Three things in the cool toned fair skin category around lips that I recommend. I do lips last in every single video like this, and by the time I get to it, I just don't care anymore. I need to do separate lip combo videos. But these are my two favorite lip liners. I am struggling so hard with lip liner, you guys. Like every lip liner reads way too heavy, way too harsh. I know like the dark liner, light lip thing is in. I don't like it. It's not for me. So it's hard to find lip liners. These are the only two that I use all the time. I'll try other ones in my stash. There's formulas I like. The colors are not right. These are the only two I'm always using. Actually, it's not true. There's one more, but it's not here. I had to order a backup of it because mine is gone. Makeup by Mario Smoky Pink is a really good fair skin, cool tone pink lip liner. It's not going to pull too warm. It's not too harsh. It's beautiful. I don't have it in front of me to show you, but it is on the way. These two, however, Charlotte Tilbury Pillow Talk Fair lip liner is my favorite. I just don't love her lip liners. That's the biggest problem. They get gunky on top of each other. They're just really fussy. Like you get one shot with Charlotte Tilbury lip liners. You better line that some bitch but good, because if you need to correct it, it builds on top of it. So anyway, the pros, it's the color. It's this beautiful baby pink with a little bit of a lavender undertone to it that even if I overline my lips, which I try not to do anymore, but even if I do, it's not too harsh or in your face, Nancy Grace. It's just perfect. However, Stone from MAC. You guys remember a couple years ago when all the girlies were using their eyeliner pencil as lip liner, or excuse me, eyebrow pencil as lip liner? That's kind of what this is. This is OG 90s MAC supermodel, Kevin Aquant. This is like a staple. It is borderline gray. It's very cool undertoned. I use it every time I do my lips. Like I'll just pop it right here in the corner of my mouth to kind of give myself a lift in that area. But sometimes I use it completely by itself. So when it comes to lip products, if you try nothing else, if you're cool toned or fair, you would like this for many things. Lip liner by itself or to contour your lips. It's incredible. And this lip gloss, which I've talked about a million times. I do wear other things, but it's just my favorite to top anything with. It's the Lavender Sorbet lip gloss from Lawless. I'll put it on right now so you can see. It is gorgeous. If your lip color is coming out too warm, this is almost too cool now. If it's coming out too warm, too orange, too red, sometimes like a lip pencil will come off. Just, I don't know how to explain it. Like it's when they pull too warm on me, I do not like it. Some people might like it on themselves, but it is not for me. This takes no matter what lip combo you put on, and usually like lips are the last thing you're doing. You're running out the door. Maybe you look at it and you're like, oh, I don't like how it's turning out. It's too warm. Put this on top of it. It's going to cool it down. It'll do exactly what you need it to do. It's kind of like this foundation. Any foundation I have that's not working for me, I'll pop this in there, fix it. Same thing with lip product. If no matter what lip I have going on, this makes it better. It doesn't matter if it's already the right color, makes it better. Doesn't matter if it's too warm, makes it better. Can't say enough good things about it. I think I've mentioned it in like 50 videos. I'm obsessed. All right, guys, that is my favorite fair skin cool tone makeup product video, and I am sticking to it. Please let me know again in the down bar what your favorite products are in this category: fair skinned, cool toned, winter, spring, that type of area. I would love to know what you think. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Again, thumbs up if you did enjoy it, subscribe so we can see each other again in the very, very near future. I hope you're having an amazing day, and I will catch you in the next one.